The upheavals that laid the groundwork for New Granada's bid for independence originated with a series of succession crises that rocked the Spanish monarchy in the late 18th century. As the House of Habsburg gave way to the Bourbon dynasty after the War of the Spanish Succession, reverberations rumbled across the Atlantic to Spain's American colony. It was against this backdrop of lingering Spanish instability that the so-called Commoner Revolts flared up among the New Granada's lower classes in the 1770s and 1780s. Figures like Juan Francisco Herbeo and José Antonio Galán led mestizo and mulatto peasants in armed insurrections protesting oppressive taxes, labor laws, and lack of political representation for mixed-race peoples. These uprisings, though vitally suppressed, signaled growing discontent beneath the surface of Spanish imperial control. As historian John Letty Phelan wrote, they shattered the myth of colonial tranquility in New Granada's racial hierarchy. In the 1790s, the visionary Neo-Granadine precursor, Antonio Nariño, found inspiration in the revolutionary ideas sweeping from France. Nariño dared translate the rights of man into Spanish and printed around 1,000 copies, an illegal act punished by imprisonment and book burning. His dissemination of these Enlightenment texts planted seeds of liberal ideals. The lawyer, Camilo Torres, built on Nariño's foundation through subversive writings promoting independence published in pamphlets and books like his Memorial de Agravios. Torres denounced Spain's monstrosity of colonial rule, exposing how it clashed with Enlightenment principles like equality and consent of the governed. As King Fernando VII clung to autocratic power and rejected reforms, intellectuals like Nariño and Torres emerged as leaders of growing opposition movement in New Granada, demanding autonomy, if not outright independence yet. Although some of these subversive voices, such as revolutionary thought leaders like Nariño, were at heart royalists who wanted the colonies to be a successful experiment in the Spanish Americas. When Napoleon's invasion in 1808 left a power vacuum in Spain, the rebels finally saw their chance. The Admirable Campaign of civic juntas overthrowing Spanish rule erupted across New Granada's cities in 1810. Though still expressing nominal loyalty to Fernando, the patriot actions of activists, commoners, and writers created a separate zeal that could no longer be contained within the existing imperial system. New Granada's march towards independence was now underway. The Admirable Campaign revolt of 1810 marked a point of no return for New Granada. What began as protests and insurrections against imperial oppression escalated into a full-fledged revolutionary war for independence from Spanish rule. In this crucible, brilliant military leaders like Simón Bolívar and Antonio José de Sucre emerged as heroes of the patriot cause. The daring young Bolívar earned his legendary status through audacious campaigns like his stunning 1813 offensives, retroactively dubbed the Admirable Campaign, against royalist forces in Venezuela. Though ultimately forced to retreat to Nueva Granada, Bolívar's string of victories marked one of the first major blows against Spanish dominance. They also cemented his reputation as a skilled strategist and the embodiment of the revolution's inspirational zeal. At Bolívar's side was his indispensable partner, Antonio José de Sucre, whose lucid military mind complemented the fiery passion of El Libertador. Sucre's level-headed leadership and deft tactics proved decisive in multiple patriot triumphs. Still, the fight for independence plunged into a grotesque cycle of shifting fortunes and allegiances. Royalist commanders like Pablo Morillo arrived with the fierce mandate to brutally extinguish the rebellion at all costs through scorched earth offensives. Opportunists and mercenaries like José Tomás Boves cyclically swapped loyalties for whichever side could enrich them. Amid this chaos, provinces and populations were ravaged as each side jockeyed for power and territory. Through nearly a decade of this merciless revolutionary crucible, the scales gradually tipped in the favor of the indomitable patriot armies led by Bolívar and Sucre. Each victory brought independence one step closer. Finally, in 1819, Bolívar's defining victory over Spanish forces at the Battle of Boyacá cemented freedom for Nueva Granada. The final purge of royalist forces soon followed. What began with uprisings by commoners, intellectuals, and landed elite had culminated in the birth of a new republic forged through nearly 10 years of unrelenting revolutionary warfare. But ensuring the survival of this rising nation under a united vision would prove another epic challenge. Simón Bolívar's decisive victory against Spain at the Battle of Boyacá in 1819 paved the way for the establishment of the Republic of Colombia, uniting territories including Nueva Granada. As Bolívar himself proclaimed, the birth of Colombia has been sealed with the blood of her children. However, forging a unified republic proved an immense challenge amid the splintered factions emerging from the independence struggle. Bolívar's vice president, Francisco de Paula Santander, became an ardent voice for a federalist system granting more autonomy to provinces like Nueva Granada. Tensions flared between Bolívar's centralist vision and the Federalists, with Santander warning, "The greatest danger to the Republic lies not outside our territory, but within our hearts." He advocated for democratic institutions, saying, "The rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the justice of the Almighty." For a time, an uneasy balance allowed the Republic of Colombia to function under Bolívar's leadership. But by 1828, physical and political ailment had depleted El Libertador. In his final address, Bolívar lamented, "I have plowed the sea in trying to establish enduring continental unity." With Bolívar resigning in 1830 and passing soon after, Santander and the Federalists came to the fore, establishing the Republic of Nueva Granada in 1831 with autonomy from Bolívar's vision. Though independence had been achieved through incredible revolutionary sacrifice, the future for Nueva Granada and the liberated republics remained turbulent and divided for years to come. As the historian David Bushnell reflected, the years after 1819 were to demonstrate how much easier it was to overthrow Spanish rule than to decide what should take its place.